Hey everyone, welcome Matt here reviewing another board game. Today we're looking at Tsuro of the Seas, a game of treacherous waters, which is a 2 to 8 player elimination game with tile laying. We're charting our course through the treacherous seas. The Emperor has claimed that we should sail the seas and let all the world know that he is their master, their emperor, and their god. And look at this lovely little insert that the game comes with. Love the flavor text in this game. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, and I'll dive into my final thoughts. So, I got the game kind of set up here already. We can see some daikaiju. These dragons are already placed. Basically, I'll just go over the general rules. So, at the beginning of the game, you'll pick one of your ships, and you'll place it at one of these marker spots. So, say like he placed right there, that would be where you start the game. And if you placed a tile, then he goes along that path accordingly, like so. So that's how that works. But the way the game is set up is first you'll do that and you'll roll to find out where your daikaiju are placed. And the way the daikaiju are placed is you'll look at the numbers here, which I have a 2 blue and a 1 gold. So we see our 2 blue is on the side here, and then our 2 gold, or our 1 gold rather, is right here. So at the beginning of the game, we would have placed a daikaiju right here, where our lovely green ship is with Mr. Greedo today. For some reason, sailing the open seas, looks like he's kicking back and just enjoying the sun. For now, there's no daikaiju around him right now. But that would be how the game is set up, briefly. You're going to put all your ships down. You're going to start by drawing 3 wake. These are called wake tiles. And they have all kinds of different designs on them, different patterns for how you move. If you're familiar with Tsuro, the original game, it's basically the same in that gist. But what makes this game different is that the board is slightly bigger. There's an extra row, I think, on the side, horizontally and vertically. And we have our daikaiju, and of course it's ships on the water. It's a different theme. But the way the daikaiju work is at the beginning of a turn, you're going to roll the die. And we're going to add up our die total, and if it comes between the numbers of 6, 7, or 8, then we're going to have our daikaiju move. Now, if it's not those numbers, then nothing happens. So in this case, I rolled a 9, so nothing would have happened. But say that I had rolled a 6. Well, in this case, I would look at the daikaiju, and I would look at their colors. I would roll 1 die, and then I would see what that die tells me to do. If it's a number 1 through 5, then the daikaiju will move according to that number, starting with, I believe, the gold and then the blue. So in this case, we have the gold, which would move down here, and in this case, actually, he would destroy the daikaiju because he landed on top of the other one, and you can't have 2 in the same spot. And what you would have to do is re-roll just like at the beginning of the game and find out where that daikaiju would be placed. But let's just, for the sake of time, move on, and you would see here, okay, now this guy gets moved, and he has a 4 in this direction, so he would go like this. If a daikaiju runs over a tile a spot that has a wake tile on it, the wake tile is not pushed over like that, it's actually moved to the side of the game. And that's basically what you're going to do there. If you noticed here, like if I had rolled a 5, then he would stay in place. He rotates instead of moving. So, and that's going to be differently numbered for different daikaijus. So like this one has a 1 number rotate, and that's important if you have the same one going at the same time. The gold's always going to go first in that case. You always have to have 3 daikaiju on the board, and the number that you start the game with is going to vary based on the number of players. After you place the daikaiju down, then you're going to put your wake tile down. And we're just going to have Greedo go straight for now. He's just going to go straight that way. And that would be what we do there. And then I would draw another tile for my pile over here. And I see it's this guy right here. And this offers a nice little loop that can do some interesting things. Which, speaking of, the other ways that you can be eliminated from this game, if a daikaiju lands on you, your tile and your ship are eliminated. You're done. If you fall off the board for some reason, we'll notice here our red ship is charting very close along the board. If someone had happened to have drawn, let's just, I don't know if I can find a card. Here's one right here. If someone had placed, like, if I had placed for some dumb reason, I guess, this card right here, and I had started right here, you have to go wherever the line leads you to the end of your path, which in this case would lead me off the map, and I'm a goner. So you have to watch out for that too. You also have to watch out for the infinite loop. Once you start adding a lot more tiles to the board, if your ships get stuck in an infinite loop, it's almost like your sailors were stuck at sea and they ran out of food or something terrible happened and they were never found, and the end. It's a tragic story. So you don't want to get caught in the infinite loop. And after you draw your wake tile, after you've placed one, you'll have 3, and that will end your turn, and you'll go to the next player. And you'll continue doing so until all the players are eliminated from the game. And that's basically how the game works. Very, very quick overview of everything. Hopefully I got all the rules right for you, what I did explain, but the rulebook itself is very articulate, and it's a wonderful, concise little rulebook. It's got this flavor text here, and you can see you open it up, and it opens like that, and it's got the credits on the back side, and it's just a gorgeous, good, durable material. Love this flavor text. I love to start the game with it. The Emperor declared that all around him, from the edge of the seas to the highest mountain, is his domain. And then you go through it, just I love to be fun like that and really set the tone. People will laugh and make fun of me for doing it in a good kind of way. Now, if you enjoy this game, you purchase it or you play at a friend's house, and but you decide, man, I just want to add a little bit of more flavor to it, or maybe you feel like the daikaiju are too random. Well, the good news is, first of all, the daikaiju rule is actually optional. According to the rulebook, there's a small little options thing that says you do not have to use the daikaiju. If you would have less randomness in your game, you can just play it without these dragons whatsoever. So for people that have complained saying this one's too random for me compared to Tsuro, I say that's hogwash, because you can take out the daikaiju if you want. It has these cool little ships, which I love, just the detail on these things. I don't know how well you can see it with the camera right now, but it's got some nice little ridges on the side. It's not just like a block thing. It's got little like holes on the mast right here, and it's just, oh man, like it's fun to look at. And I love to put little Greedo and my little figures up in here. I don't know if I showed you close up there. Woohoo, yeah. So great quality stuff here, and plus it adds the extra row. So I don't see any reason why you would buy the original Tsuro over this one now, just for that reason alone. Plus it adds in these dragons, which, let me go ahead and show you the different dragons. First we got our little snake dragon here. He's got a little horn viper looking thing on his head with his eye kind of to the back. I call this one the never ending story dragon. Kind of looks like the dog that flies, but he's like turned evil. I call this one the boss from the Fire Temple in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. His name started with a V. I can't remember at the top of my head. But there's that one. And then there's the one that the board looks like. This guy right here. So, oh wait, and then there's this green one too. So, love these dragons. Just awesome. Awesome stuff. The cards, well, the tiles themselves, good quality. You can see I'm pushing on this here, and it's not bending too bad at all. Like, you'd have to really mess with these things to mess them up. Nice and smooth. Love the artwork on these things. Like, so clear about what they're designed to do. Now, I guess briefly here, I would love to touch on the expansion, Veterans of the Sea. As I was saying, if you find this a little too random, you want to change something, it comes with 5 cannon tiles, which if you run into the monster, you play a cannon tile, or if someone does it and it's not your turn, then boom, you can take down one of those daikaiju and you're okay. And you could also play a variant if you wanted to, like the first one to kill, 2 or 3 daikaiju is the winner instead of whoever survives. If you wanted to, change how you strategize your game, you're trying to hunt down the daikaiju, like, sure, why not? You can mix that up. I don't think it's in the rules, but, why not? Add some flavor to your game. There's the tidal wave right here. If you get caught in the tidal wave, then that's bad news, and it's kind of like the daikaiju. It moves, and it just brings a tidal wave with it of Onslaught of Destruction. There's the Whirlpool, which basically, if you get sucked into it, then that's bad news. And then there's the Portal. The Portal, I think, it's interesting because it moves you kind of randomly, so it can be bad, but it can also be a little overpowered because it can save you from elimination in a number of ways. And there's only one of them as opposed to the cannons where there's 5, and so I don't know. I still haven't decided if I like this yet or not. I have not played with the Tidal Wave or the Whirlpool yet, so I can't really speak to those. I can say that the cannons are very powerful if you get one, and if you're playing with 8 players, there's only a chance that up to 5 of you can have it. So there's that. Let me go ahead and turn around and give you my final thoughts on this game. First of all, let's just go over the cons first. Like any other player elimination game, the box says 20 to 40 minutes, and it definitely can drag longer. If you're dealing with 8 of these ships and people getting eliminated, it can take a while for someone to have to sit there and wait while the other people finish it out. So for the lightness of the game, you have to decide if that's worth it for you. But just be aware of that whoever gets eliminated early is just going to have to wait. And it's, if they enjoy watching the other people play, then that's great. But if not, it can kind of be, it can kind of make you feel anxious, especially like I had a game night once and this happened and I was hosting it and I ended up staying until I think I got eliminated. Like I was the second to last player left. And I just felt bad. Like I was hosting this game night and I was stuck, I was in the game, but like I had these guests here and they just had to sit and watch. And so that's the downside to player elimination games in general. But with longer ones like this one, which this is not a long game unless you're playing 8 players, and if it takes people longer. If you're playing with the daikaiju, that will obviously the randomness of it really dictate part of how long the game's going to go. But if you're not playing with the daikaiju, or you modify your rules to play with less of them or something, that can obviously also prolong the game. I think it's. There's a certain scenario where if all the tiles are out and no one can move, then it's a tie. Then I don't know, like that's never happened to me, so I don't know that it's very common. But I would prefer if there was some kind of tiebreaker thing, but I guess it's kind of hard to figure out what that would be. If you're playing with the cannons, maybe whoever has killed the most daikaiju or something. I don't know. That's really minor stuff though. I think this game it's also a pro though, moving to the pros, that it can be played with up to 8 players. There's just not a lot of board games beyond like dexterity games or social deduction party games that really are quality once it gets to a higher player count like that. Or that even allow you to go to a higher player count. Most board games will stop at 5, and getting 6 is great. Sometimes that even takes an expansion. So I love it when a game like lets you play up to 8 players right out of the box. Just awesome fun there. And hey, if you want to add another figure, like I've got Jabba's sail barge here, why not? You can have more players in this and get more chaotic and crazy and fun. The dice I mentioned are great quality. The ships, the game itself, I think it's a lot of fun. It's a great light board game. Love how you can play it with the randomness or without the randomness. Comes with a good insert for the game. It kind of looks like a Fantasy Flight Games insert, but this is Calliope Games. I don't know how you pronounce it. But the tiles fit great, and your ships and everything fits in there great, and then the board fits on top, and it's just perfect and nice. And even with the expansion, which only adds like 8 or 9, I think it's 9 tiles here, that fits in there too, so no problems there. My recommendation would be, if you enjoy tile laying games, check it out for sure. It's a cheaper game. It's somewhere between $25 to $30 most places. If you like the game and you're wanting that little bit of extra oomph, I would recommend checking out the expansion, Veterans of the Seas, which is roughly $10 depending on where you look. So So whether that's worth it for that number of tiles is really up to you, whether you want that extra experience. I had a gift card, and so